here we are. So I know that he's helped me. I know that he can help you. So I'm going to hand over to you, Mr. Paul Essien. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. It's great to have you. How are you feeling tonight?
Good evening, Elsie. Good evening, Elsie. Thanks for having me.
That is absolutely fantastic. I was just gonna check actually on the webcam to see how many lines there are underneath your eyes. I know you've got a newborn in the house, right? So I know newborns don't allow parents to sleep.
No, I'm getting sleep. I'm
getting
sleep? Rest. Yeah, I'm getting sleep. I'm getting rest. To be honest, I'm appreciating the time at home at the moment. I think it's giving me the chance to just slow down and analyze what I'm doing and be a bit more picky. And although it is an unprecedented time and it is bad, I still believe that there's lots of opportunities at the moment.
Fantastic.
Something that I want to discuss tonight.
Excellent. And let's get straight into it, because I always get excited when you share your stuff, because it really is, I think outside of this time, it's been poignant, but I think there's no better time to hear this type of thing. You always talk about finding opportunities in problems. So go ahead and take it away, sir. We're looking forward to what you've got to say.
Thank you, Elsie. Thanks for having me. Thanks for everyone that's joined tonight. My background is property and finance, and to the naked eye, it looks like my businesses are property and finance, but the truth is they are vehicles for solutions. My businesses solve problems for different parts of the industry and for different stakeholders in the industry. As bad as things are now, and believe me, they are bad, those that find out a way to solve problems and monetize the solutions will thrive immediately. What would you pay me if I created a way for you to keep in contact with and maintain relationships with people that you studied with or that you went to school with? What if you could speak to them about their newborns, or communicate and congratulate them about their promotions, and comment about how much weight they lost or how great they looked on holiday? How much would you pay me for that? Would you give me large amounts of your data in return? What if I created a way to feed you within 10 minutes and your family? What if all you had to do was drive to the side of my kitchen and you could collect the meal that you asked for? Or what if I created an app that let you order from 10 other kitchens at the same time and the food would be delivered directly to your home? What would you pay me for the peace of mind to leave your child with me, which would allow you to go to work? What if you were able to check that the environment I created for your child would allow them to thrive and learn and be nurtured? What would you pay me for the day-to-day care? Now, each of those businesses solve problems, and I'm sure you have an idea of the businesses or the type of industries that I'm talking about. Now, we have to understand a principle, and I'll show it with the slides that I'm about to share. The bigger a problem is, the more rewarding the solution to that problem will be. And a solution to a problem is at the core of every successful business. Now, I firmly believe that the way we should start, and especially in this time, is concentrate on finding problems. If you can find a problem, identify customers willing to pay for the solution, evidence the effectiveness and deployability of your solution, then send the invoices. Now, at the moment, there's a lot of talk of teachers and nurses and even Premier League footballers. Now, which of these solutions that they provide would you say are more pertinent? Which are more valuable? Right now, we'd say a nurse, but a nurse gets paid in an entire year what a Premier League footballer gets paid in 3 or 4 days. And a nurse or a teacher may perform noble work, and they may solve noble, important problems for thousands of people a year and educate our youth. But each time a Premier League footballer kicks a ball, he's paid because he solves the problems for 10 million people that are watching him play football. And there's another problem or another issue. The Premier League footballer may be able to monetize his solution because a TV broadcaster is paying them for the solution. A sponsor is paying them for the solution. Whereas a nurse only has one customer, and that customer is the government. And unfortunately, the government have decided to pay nurses what they've decided to pay them. So for me, finding a problem is only part of it. Then the next thing is identifying who our customer is. Now, I'm talking about all of this because I believe that in the epoch that we're living through, we can start businesses today, tomorrow. Everybody's at home. We've got a lot of access to people and skills that we wouldn't have had access to before. So it's going to be very important to first identify problems, but then to identify customers. Now, people fail in business because they get this crucial issue wrong. A customer is a stakeholder in your product or service that has the desire and ability to purchase your product or service. A primary school student is not the customer, nor is their parent. The customer is the local education authority. The cancer patient is not the customer for the medication. The NHS is the customer in the UK, because the cancer patient may be the stakeholder, they may be the beneficiary of the solution, but they cannot pay the drug company for the product. So again, before starting businesses, I look at some tasks, and it will be helpful to do some of these tasks at home, whether it's this evening or over the next few days, because let's be honest, we all have the time. I'll make a list of the products that I consume, why and how I pay for them, and what problems they solve for me. I make a list of the problems that I believe require a solution, no matter how big or small. It could be shopping. I can't get to the shop. The problem is I need to order online. Okay, fine. I make a list of problems that have been prevalent for the last 100 years or longer. People were dying 100 years ago and needed funerals. It will be the same in 100 years. I make a list of the problems, as I said, that will still require solutions in 100 years. I make a list of problems that would still be prevalent even if all the issues with world poverty, food security, and equal opportunities were eradicated. And that's because I've got a separate list for big problems. You know, we have big problems of our day, for instance, renewable energy and the climate emergency. And then we have smaller problems like the fact that key workers need to get to work at the moment and not by public transport. And there's a lot of people that have cars on their drives that they need to make a car payment for. Can I marry those two things and create a solution for both of them and find a way to monetize that? I'll make a list of problems that are underpinned by convenience, trends, and even emergencies. Uber, Google, emergency ventilators, delivery vans, and scooters. This is where I start when I start looking at businesses and opportunities, right? So this next part is, I always create this and I go through this at length, ad nauseum. I get very anal about product knowledge. And that's because I think it's very important. So before we start any idea or turn an idea into a business or spend 1 penny or £1 on it, I ask myself these 21 questions. And obviously we'll make these slides available to you after because we don't have enough time to go through all of them. But first, what is the problem? Why is the problem prevalent? And who benefits from the prevalence of the problem? For instance, let's say in West Africa, there's issues with electricity. Everybody has a generator. The people who own those generator companies benefit from the prevalence of a problem. Or fossil fuels. BP benefit from the prevalence of the fact that we use diesel and petrol. I go through these 21 questions and it forces me to learn more about the product or the industry that I'm trying to get into. It forces me to acquire the product knowledge that I need. Because what you'll find when you're going through these questions in every industry, there are barriers to entry. Now, a barrier to entry can be, you know, you can't say tomorrow that you're going to go into oil and gas because it costs hundreds of billions of pounds to have the infrastructure. And then you need the knowledge to deploy that infrastructure. Those are barriers to entry in getting into oil and gas. You may say that you want to be a property developer tomorrow, but you might not have hundreds of thousands of pounds to buy land. How do you scale that barrier to entry? Well, if you have the product knowledge that questions like this will force upon you, maybe you can find out how to source property. Maybe you can find out more about probate law and how to get cases that are about to fall down because there's an outstanding probate. Now, if you can show an evidence that you can solve the problem for other developers of finding available assets and opportunities, well, then now you're a property developer because you can approach that property developer and say, I want a 50-50. I will find the land, you put up the money, and we'll go in and do a JV. And the truth is that's how I got into property 5 years ago. So I go through these questions and I advise everybody to do something similar, to require this and require high standards of themselves and acquire the product knowledge. Now, we're in an extraordinary epoch, as I've said. We carry devices in our pocket that are stronger and more powerful than the computers that sent man to the moon. But could you show me your search history? You're saying you've got ideas and you want to do this or that, but what is it? What information are you consuming? Are you exhausting all the resources that are available to you? You no longer have to get an encyclopedia down off your parents' shelf. You have all the information on your phone. There are podcasts and people, for instance, Mr. Brunson that was just on that, have all of this information that they will give you for free. They will trade for your attention or for your likes or for you following them, and they will give you the information that you need to acquire the product knowledge that you need to move forward. So learning is very important. Knowledge will allow you to scale the barriers to entry. Knowledge will now allow you to innovate your way out of problems or innovate your way into opportunities. And at this time, it's crucial that we make use of the opportunities and every resource that we have, especially resources that are free. Now, again, not to labor the point, and I think some of these things we can go over in the Q&A, and I don't want to go on too much, but product knowledge is very important because barriers to entry are real, because there are issues that you'll have with competition, because you'll find somebody that, or a competitor that is better resourced than you, or that have more staff than you, or that have a better reputation than you. The best way to overcome those barriers in that competition will always be your product knowledge, but are you willing to pay that price? When you go home, I mean, you're stuck at home now, fair enough, but are you just watching TV, or are you consuming information about the things that you claim to be passionate about? You claim to be passionate about fashion design, but do you know about the latest trends in how we can be more carbon efficient in the materials that we're using? Do you know everything about your industry? And in the abundance of resources, few attributes level playing fields like a passion for knowledge and understanding. Now, the businesses I spoke about before, I mean, Facebook appears to be a social media platform, but it's really a tool for letting people stay in contact with people they don't really want to see. Uber and Uber Eats and these things are convenient tools that allow you to do other things. It looks like they feed you, but actually they're a time machine. They give you the time to do other things with your family or with your work or with your whatever. In the nursery, it looks like it's childcare, but it allows people to go to work. This morning on the news, they were saying that there's a lot of key workers that are not able to go to work because nurseries have closed. And nurseries have closed because they were only previously open for the children of key workers, but there were not enough children in the nurseries to warrant having 12 members of staff. And so the nurseries have closed, and the knock-on effect is the key workers can't go to work. But even in that, there are problems. In the situation that we're looking at now, where everybody is at home, there are problems that need solutions immediately. And some of these solutions don't need tech geniuses to create new apps. Some of these solutions can be created if you are willing to pay the price to learn about the industry that you intend to get into and study and scrutinize your own product, your own idea, and not be sensitive about it. Thank you.
Again, Paul, thank you so much for that. We'll rejoin you and the rest of the panelists for a Q&A section after our final presenter. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce to you Mr. Des Amey. He is the man. Hi, my name is EJWAY. Thank you so much for showing your interest in our Grow Your Potential events. If you enjoy our events and if you get value from them, you are going to love the Honing Block. The Honing Block is a place where entrepreneurs go. It's a private Facebook group. We have live interviews there every single Tuesday evening. And if I don't have an interview, it's because I've got a live event. So click the link below to get straight into that group. I'll see you in there.